Annie Baatz, and I want to thank you for coming tonight. I really appreciate your support. And tonight we're going to be talking about thinking into results and what that looks like in your own life. So we're going to be talking about your life and where you are in your life and where you would like to go. So it's time to transform your dreams into reality, your goals into achievements, and your thinking into results. So this is one of my mentors. I have 5. He's the main one, Proctor. And he came into my life about 2 years ago. I was looking to make changes in my life, big changes, and I didn't know which way to go. There were so many big speakers out there, I was so overwhelmed. So I just said a prayer that somebody would come and touch my life. And he came in the name of Bob Proctor. And I can tell you, ever since I've met this man, my life has changed, like, tremendously. Last year when I was sitting on my couch, he does an event, it's called a paradigm shift. So I'm going to be talking a lot about paradigms. And paradigms are habits and beliefs that's stored in a section of our subconscious mind. So he does an event called a paradigm shift 3 times a year. And I was sitting on my couch last year listening to it, live streamed it into my home. And he said, what do you want? What do you really, really want? And nobody ever asked me that question. Nobody ever really asked me on that deep level, like, what did I want? And I felt I was the only soul on this planet, and he was talking only to me. There was nobody else around. And I said, I want to change my life. I was working and in a job it was over for me, but I didn't have the courage to leave. I wasn't happy with where I was. I have all these goals and dreams, and I was doing the same thing over and over again, wanting different results, and nothing was happening. But he had this lady, her name is Peggy McCall, and she's an author. She's about 12 New York Times bestseller books. She's a multimillionaire and she's a mentor. And she got on the stage and she said, everybody has a story inside of them. And I said, well, I have a story. I have a really good story. And I made a decision I was going to write a book. And I had no idea how to write a book. It was never a goal. It was never a dream. But I made the decision I was going to write it. And the doors started to open. And next thing I know, I'm in this book author program with this lady, Peggy McCall. And in under a year, my book was published, Where Do I Go From Here by Annie Baatz. And it's a very powerful message, but I didn't know how this was going to happen. I had no idea. But when I made the decision, and he talks a lot about decisions, that we just have to make a decision. We don't have to know the hows, the whys. But just know when you make a decision to do something to better your life, the doors will open. And you just have to go through the doors and see the opportunities when they do present themselves. Because they will present themselves. And that was my story with my book. But he's totally changed my life. I'm on this path of growth. I am so focused on my goals and where I'm going. I know where I'm going. Years ago I was very lost. I felt just I had no direction on had no guide, let me put it that way, on how I was gonna create these goals that I really knew in my heart that were gonna happen. And I just followed what he said. And this year I made a decision to retire. 23 years with the airlines, and that was a big choice. But again, I made the decision, and the door started to open, and I've decided this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Because I love the material, I love how it's changed my mind, I love understanding my own mind, and knowing who I am. Get stronger, a little bit wiser, but it was just, it was such a gift in my life. So God's gift to us, I love this, is to use more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. And our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent as ability as we can in this lifetime. Because we all have gifts and we're all here to create and we're all here to grow. And it's up to us to take the actions to make that happen and to use the talent that we have been given. So let's talk about creating. So all the great books say we're here to create. The Bible says it, conversations with God, every book, great book says that we're here to create. But we have to create our own life. We have to figure out what it is that we want and take the steps to make that happen. And everybody wants freedom. Freedom in some way, whether it's relationship building, whether it's money, whether it's time, whatever it is that you want in your whole life. Everybody always wants something more, something, whatever. But a lot of people want money, more money. But they want money just to be carefree and to be able to do what they want to do, go where they want to go, be free of financial concerns. And when we don't have money freedom, we spend all our time figuring out how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that, how we're going to pay this, how we're going to pay that. And then we utilize all our time worrying and focusing on money. When we have time freedom, you can do anything. And almost all successful people utilize their time. They say you can't manage time, you can only manage your activities. And the most successful people, every night before they go to bed, they have a list written out what they're going to do the next day. So when they get up the next morning, they're already focused, they know where they're going, they know what they have to do. Because if you look at your own life throughout the day, how much time we actually waste. And it can be quite a lot of time. And when I was at an event recently, they said, even if you only have 5 minutes, utilize that 5 minutes. Make the most of that 5 minutes. So now we're going to start thinking. So let me go over here to my bowl of lemons. All right, so if you close your eyes and think about a bowl of lemons. I'm going to cut the lemons. The juices are going to run out of the lemons onto the plate. I'm going to come around. I'm going to give you a piece of lemon. You're going to eat it. You're going to feel the acidity in your body. And when you think about it, right, I didn't even give you a piece of lemon. But when you close your eyes, you think of that lemon. You think of the juices in that lemon. You think of eating that lemon. You feel it in your body. But that's reality. Right? People tell us to think something. They say something, we think about it. We do it. And a lot of times it's not even true. Because I didn't have any lemons. But yet you thought about the lemons. And we think in pictures. We all think in pictures. And the first time I heard that, I just couldn't believe it. But it's so true when you really think about it. We do think in pictures. So Louise, if I was to say to you about your car, what color is your car?
Black.
Is it 2-door or 4-door? 4-door. Is it engine? 2 engine, 4 engine?
I think it's 4.
Okay. What color is the interior?
Gray.
Okay. So when I asked you those questions, or Marianne, when I asked you those questions, did you think of your car?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do we do that? But that's just an example of how we just, when somebody says something, we automatically go to our own, whatever it is, whether it's the car, whether it's a refrigerator, no matter what it is, but we think in pictures. And that's how our mind operates. So when I heard that, and I realized how true that it is, it makes you become more aware to pay attention to what actually people are saying to you. Because we do take on or really get involved in what people are actually saying. So I want to focus on goals. So who here has goals? Louise, Natalie, Marianne, Kathy.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, a worthy ideal is something you're going after that you've never done before. And there's 3 different types of goals. So we have the A-type goals, so you know how to do it. It's like leasing a car, right? The first time you lease a car, you don't know how to lease a car. Then you go through the process. 3 years later, you have to lease a car, so you know how to lease the car. A B-type goal is something you think you can do, and the C-type goal is what Bob Proctor said to me. What do you want? What do you really, really want? Now I have a goal that I know is going to happen. I know in my heart it's going to happen, but it's way up here, and I'm here, and I have no idea how that's going to happen, but I know it is. And I can tell you, when he says you're going to stretch, I am being stretched beyond anything, like doing this. This is like a total career change for me. You stretch, you grow, you start to come up with ideas. Because once you make the decision on what you really want, the C-type goal, and you're committed to it, and you know you're going to get there, you just don't know how it's going to happen, the ideas will start to come to you how you're going to reach that goal. And it's up to you to actually go through these doors and follow through in the ideas. If you don't follow through in the ideas, you're slowing your progress towards getting towards your goal. Because how many ideas do actually come to you to do something and you don't follow through on them? Mm-hmm. And you're wasting so much money when we don't follow through these ideas, because these ideas are given to us. What our goal is given to us. We're all individuals, we're all unique, we're all different, and all our goals are different. But the ideas are coming from here, from the infinite, down to us. Not to anybody else, but to us. It's up to us to follow through on those ideas, to take the steps, to take the action, not knowing where it's going to lead you, but to trust if that idea came to you, then it's for you to follow through on. It's very powerful. So here, okay. How many of you have a goal that's written down? Do you write your goal out? No. You should. You should. Okay. I'm going to hand out some goal cards. Actually, I think I have some here. Oh, here. So we have some here. So these goal cards are a powerful little tool. They should be written in 40 words or less. And it has to be in the present tense. So when you think about your goal, think about what it is that you really, really want. Let me get you one more. When you think about what it is that you really, really want, it has to be in the present tense as if you have it already. Mm-hmm. It has to be 40 words or less, and you date it. So make sure you put a date on it. So when you carry these goal cards in your hand or in your pocket, every time you touch the goal cards, it raises your vibration. It reminds you where you're going, and it keeps you focused. If you put them in your bag, then you're going to forget about them. Put them on your little meditation table. Put them on your night table, so when you go to bed, you're looking at your goal, whatever your goal is, because what you pay attention to before you go to bed is what is going to be happening in your mind through the night. So always keep one. I have extras if you'd like some more. Always keep one by your table at night, so before you get into bed you see it, and it keeps you focused where you're going to go. So who here has a goal that they'd like to share? A big goal?
Oh, I want to get my PhD in nursing.
Ooh.
I'm working on the master's. I'm a year and a half in now.
Okay.
But that would be another year and a half for the master's, and then almost 3 more years for the PhD.
That's a big goal.
Yeah.
That's a very big goal. But I think that would qualify as a B-type goal, right? Because you know
As long as I keep
how
going.
you're going to get it.
Kind of know, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But a C-type goal is like something.
Publishing my children's book is a C goal.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good goal.
That's a C goal.
That's a
I don't
good
know
goal.
how that's gonna happen.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so that's a good goal. Anybody else like to share on a goal that they have?
Well, my goal is to start traveling more.
Okay. So do you think that's a B goal? Do you think you know how to do it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So how about a C-type goal, like a big goal?
I think I've reached my big goal. Once I have my own company and idea, so now it's time to have fun and enjoy life.
Okay, all right. Okay, anybody else like to share anything? No? Okay. But thank you. But definitely keep these close by. They keep you focused. They're like a great little tool to have. I have them all over my house. I have them in almost every bag that I have. My coats. I keep them very close because when life happens, it puts you back on track and it reminds you where you're going. It keeps your vibration level up here instead of when life happens and you go down here. Because life happens and you can get swept away. In the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until we become ultimately enslaved by it, by Robert Heinlein. And that's what was happening to me. I had no direction. I didn't know where I was going. And I was doing the same thing every day, and every day, and every day. And I was becoming enslaved by it. And that's when I said, I'm not doing that anymore. I need to like really establish my goals clearly and figure out where I was going to go and just make a decision, and that's what I did. And I'm very glad that I did. So now let's look at results. So look in your life where you are, and this is where you are right here, and you want to go here. So just say, Natalie, for example, if you made like a money goal, you should create like a big money goal, because you have your company, right? So when you get a C goal, why don't you aim for a high level of money?
Yeah, that's what I did. I wanted to do 1 million, and I did. Then I aimed for 2, and I hit that.
Right.
So of course it's higher and
Right.
higher. I'm
Right.
always aiming for.
So aim 10.
Yes,
Make
that
it
could work.
big. That's a
That
big
could
C
work.
goal.
That could work.
But that would be a C goal,
Okay.
because you don't know how you're going to get it, right? You don't know how you're going to go from 2 to 10. But a C goal is like something you have no idea, but just know you're going to reach it. I think that's a good goal for you, because I have
an idea. for
I have
it.
faith in you. Okay, so this is where we are right now, and this is where you're going to go. How do we close that gap? How do we get from here to here? So like Natalie with her $10 million, now I'm going to use you as an example, right? How are you going to go from here to here? That's a big jump, right? If it was that easy, everybody would be successful. If everybody knew how to do what they wanted to do, everybody would be multimillionaires, or they would be living the life the way they wanted, or they'd be publishing books. Why is it that people are not doing what they really want to do? Why are people not going after the goals and reaching them? And it's because of this word. It's called a paradigm. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on that. And paradigms control our lives. They keep us where we are. We don't know we even have them. I didn't know. Let me speak for myself. I didn't know I even had them until I tried to make changes. And then I would make changes for a little bit of time, a couple of months, 6 months, and then I would always revert back because I didn't know what was stopping me. And why are so many people stuck? If you look at people around you, people that you know, maybe people in your family, friends, Fred's kids who went to school, paid hundreds of thousands. I know people that have done that for their kids, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the kids are not doing what they went to school for.
Yeah.
Why?
That's true.
Why is that? They spend all this money, they go to school for 4 years, 6 years, and they come out of school, they don't work, or they're doing something that they never even went to school for. And that's because of these paradigms. So paradigms control our lives. It's a mental program that is almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And it's a mental program, which means this. I'm going to read that again. A paradigm is a mental program that is almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost all of our behavior is habitual. So if you think of your own life, when you get up in the morning, you have a routine. Do you use the bathroom first? Do you brush your teeth? Do you put on the coffee? Do you say your prayers? What is your routine? And when we live with somebody and they have a routine, we know to stay out of their way and their routine. But we become so programmed. And do you ever notice, like, you drive yourself to work and you don't even know how you get there? Like, you just go through your days, like your day has a pattern and you just follow it, and you turn around and say, how did I even get to work? It's like the car just drove itself. These paradigms are so strong. When he said, when Bob Proctor had said only change one or two at a time, I really thought he was kidding. And I've been on a growth path, an internal growth path for quite a while, so I thought I was doing pretty good. And I wasn't until I decided to make changes, and then I really realized I had to only do one or two at a time, because nothing was changing. I was always going back to the old habits. So constant spaced repetition of ideas that are opposite to the paradigm, or the personal experience of an emotional impact. And I had the emotional impact, this. And that's when I said, I'm going to change my life. And then I had to go into the repetition of ideas. I had to take out what was there and plant new, because nothing was changing. It's a process, but it works. I can tell you that. It works, because I would not be standing here if it didn't work. So to be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm, because you're going to come up against a lot of challenges, obstacles. You're going to have this little voice that's saying, what are you doing? You can't do this, you can't do that. That was my experience. You're not smart enough. Nobody's going to show up. The whole, who do you think you are? And you have to just be willing and able and say, I'm going to do it no matter what. No matter what, I'm going to stay focused on where I'm going. So watch, in a couple of years from now, I'll be like, do you remember when I was starting? So I just want to talk quite a few minutes on awareness, because awareness of who we are and awareness of what we're capable of. Because we're here to create, right? Once we can understand our own selves and what we're actually capable of, the power that's within us, the potential that we have, and once we become more and more aware of that, as we take steps, we realize, get a little bit stronger, you get a little bit wiser, and your awareness just starts to grow. And it changes your life. It literally changes your life. Without awareness, you just go through life one step in front of the other. But when you become aware of your own being and your own self, and who and what you're actually capable of, you realize you can actually do anything once you put your mind to it. And it's something that you really want and something that you're in alignment with. You can do anything. Your ability to enjoy the good life depends on your level of awareness. because you realize you can be anything, you can do anything, and you can have anything. And as your awareness expands, everything else will expand with you. And it's such a beautiful process. And your results are an expression of your level of awareness. Natalie, with your business, you know, it's amazing. You know, me too, you know, with your degrees and everything, but it's the awareness of what you're actually capable of, but you're taking the actions to do it. That's the difference. You're not just thinking about it, you're actually taking the steps because you know what you're capable of. So if we have this little yellow dot, and this represents your awareness where you are now, right? And if your awareness level expanded even that much, what would your life look like? Right? So if we go from here to here, your life would be very different. Because now, as you grow in confidence and strength and courage, your awareness is going to expand with you. And your life becomes bigger. And you eliminate the darkness when you turn on the light. And I can tell you, there was no turning on the light when this was going on. Because I wasn't aware. I didn't know. And it just got darker and darker and darker. And I stayed there for years. Now, when situations happen, I know enough now about myself, and I'm more aware of myself where I can say, no, it's not the road. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I have a lot of tools now. My awareness is growing, especially through this material, where I don't allow myself to stay in that. Yeah. So how do we expand our awareness? Effective education with coaching over a reasonable period of time will expand a person's level of awareness. And I got the awareness through the study, through the repetition and the repetition, because it took that, because my level of awareness was not there. So mine was the constant space repetition and taking the steps like this, like what I'm doing, taking the steps more. And I love this quote from Rumi. He's very deep, but I love his quotes. Everything you are seeking is seeking you. And Bob Proctor says, every time you're working towards your goal is walking towards you. That's why it's so important to have a goal, to know where you're going, because it gives you a direction. And your goal is for you. And if your goal raises your vibration level from here, right here, because these are what control our lives. So in 1934, Dr. Thurman Fleet, he was involved in the healing arts and the holistic health. He stated the mind is an activity, it's not a thing, right? Because we don't know the mind. We've never seen the mind. People think it's the brain, but it's not the brain. No one has ever seen a person. So we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So if we think about this part being from the head up, and then we have the body being from the neck down. So the conscious mind is your thinking mind. You go to school, all the books are in there, your intellect is there. The subconscious mind is the emotional mind. So if you have something in your conscious mind, you allow something, you pain your back, your energy is gone, that's because whatever is there is in your subconscious mind. This part here, the conscious mind can accept or reject whatever we put in. So it's like watching the newspaper here. It doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So if you think about it, right, your goal, your big goal, your subconscious mind does not know if you're living in your imagination or if it's a reality. When you plant your goal in your subconscious mind and you keep focused on that goal, and you keep focused on your goal, and you keep focused on your goal, Your subconscious mind will not know whether it's real or it's not. It goes into their subconscious mind. And there's movie producers, I mean, really very, very successful. They said, Annie, you have to stand guard by your conscious mind. You have to stand guard. Now, there were 6 of us in this room, so if we said anything negative or we were trying to explain where we were in our lives or what was going on, they would rephrase it for us. They were very careful about what they said. There was no negativity. There was no, they didn't end. They're so successful. They have that routine. They write out their list the night before they go to bed. They get up in the morning. They're focused on their goals. They know where they're going. They know what they're doing. I wasn't aware of it. But now that I'm paying attention and I'm listening to a lot of people are talking about it. I don't know, maybe I just wasn't ready to hear it. But it's very, very powerful. So now, when I get the negative, which comes, there's been a lot happening, but I don't stay there. I don't stay there. I remember what they said, and you gotta guard your conscious mind, guard your subconscious mind, and I do. And I'll just focus on my goal. I'll just switch it. And then if I go back, I'll switch it again. It's a process, but it's a discipline. And once you get this discipline, it's really, it could change your life. So when we're infants, right, we don't have a conscious mind. So everything that's coming in from your home, from around you, it's all coming into your subconscious mind. All. Self-image is in our subconscious mind. A lot of our self-image starts when we're younger, when we're in school. We don't get picked for the basketball games. We don't get picked for the chess games. We're not the most popular kid in school. We don't get invited to the parties. That affects your self-image. Then as we get older, we get into relationships, especially if they're not healthy relationships. That can affect your self-image. And our self-image it's a paradigm. And when I started this work, I've done a lot of work over the years in a different area on my self-image. But this work really sped it up because I was in the work every single day. So I had no other choice. I had to work on my self-image. But I had to take out my old beliefs and replant new beliefs on my self-image. And that took a lot of work. Still working on it. But it's very powerful when we can walk out in the world stronger, more confident, more aware of our own being. And now today that we know, we can be very careful about what's going into our thinking mind. We can be very careful about these paradigms. And we can have good paradigms too. I'm not saying they're all negative. But whatever we plant in here is going to affect our body and how we're feeling. And that's going to affect our actions and what actions that we're taking. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. So how do we change them? We have to take out the old ideas that's in there, and we have to build new. And that's a process, because like I said, Bob Proctor said don't change one or two at a time, and I thought he was kidding. He really wasn't. That's been my experience. I could only work on one or two at a time. I'll be working on them forever. But at least I'm working on them and I'm aware of them, and we change once we begin to plant new ideas of what we're actually capable of doing and taking the steps to do it, not just thinking about it, but taking the action to go out and do what we really want to do. So when I decided this was what I want to do and started to do live events, I had to replace my paradigm that says nobody's going to show up. Who's going to show up? You don't know what you're talking about. And I had to replace that and said, yes, I can do this. I'm confident enough. I can do this, and this is what I want to do, so I'm going to do it anyway. And I did. And that's all just like one example, but we're all capable of doing so much. And it's a beautiful process when we really take steps to change our own life in whatever way that we want. And here Buckminster Fuller, I love what he says, you can never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So don't fight the old, just build a new. And that is what I've been doing, building a new model from being in the airlines for 23 years to now doing what I want to do. That's a brand new model. So I'm just going to read a short story here. Let me see if I can read it. And this is U Squared. This is a very powerful little book. And by the way, before I do forget, this is a great book on awareness. It's by Neville Goddard. It's very powerful if you want to take a picture of it at some stage. It's really, really good. It really makes you think about your own life and what you're actually capable of doing. You get it? And then he has another one which is talks a lot about the subconscious. Well, it doesn't actually talk a lot about the subconscious, but it talks a lot about the feelings, the emotions, and that's our subconscious mind. And it's also by him. It's called Feeling is the Secret. It's a very short little read. Great material. I would suggest.
Can I take a picture later?
Yeah, sure.
Or
Yeah, you can take a picture later. Two great books, both very powerful. This is another one, U Squared, very short. He really has you thinking, but he really brings it home that we can actually do what we want to do. We just have to trust our own selves and have the belief that we can do anything that we want. So this is one of his stories, and it's called A True Story. I'm sitting in a quiet room at the Milford Inn, a peaceful little place hidden behind the pine trees, an hour out of Toronto. It's just past noon, late July, and I'm listening to the desperate sounds of a life or death struggle going on just a few feet away. There's a small fly burning out the last of its short energies in a futile attempt to fly through the glass of the window pane. The whining wings tell the poignant stories of the fly's strategy. Try harder. But it's not working. The frenzied effort offers no hope for survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap. It is impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has staked its life on reaching its goal through raw effort and determination. This fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is open. 10 seconds of flying time and this small little creature could reach the outside world it seeks. With only a fraction of the effort now being wasted, it could be free of this self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. Why doesn't the fly try another approach? Something drastically different. How did it get so locked in the idea that this particular route and determined effort offer the most promise for success? What logic is there in continuing until death to seek a breakthrough with more of the same? No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it's an idea that will kill. Trying harder isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It may not offer any real promise for getting what you want out of life. Sometimes, in fact, it's part of the big problem. If you stake your hopes for a breakthrough and trying harder than ever, you may kill your chances for success. Very powerful.
mm-hmm.
Try harder, we try harder, and sometimes we just need to build a whole new model and look for the other way. I love that story. And decisions. Like I said, when I wrote my book, I didn't know how. He says, just make a decision, a committed decision. This is what you're gonna do. You don't know how you're gonna get there. But no, if you're in alignment with where you're going, the doors will open. And that has definitely been my experience on more than one time, a few times. So we're going to talk a little bit about money. So we have universal laws. You can YouTube them. There's 11 of them, and one of them is the law of compensation. And the law of compensation clearly states the amount of money you can earn will always be in a ratio for the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there will be in replacing you. So once again, the law of compensation clearly states the amount of money you can, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there will be in replacing you. And to focus on your ability to do it. Become a master at whatever you do in your life, wherever you are at this time. Here it's very powerful. I always think of you, Kathy, when we're talking about this. So there's 3 income earning strategies. M1 is where we trade our time for money.
That's me.
So we go to work, we drive to work, we go to work, we drive home. We're trading our time for money. You get a set salary, you get paid by the week, every 2 weeks, by the month. And that's used by 96% of the population. The M2 strategy is used by 3% of the population. This was in Forbes magazine. And that's used by people who have money to invest money, to make money. Here, most people invest a little bit of money out of their paycheck towards a stock fund for retirement, but then it takes away from your life. And then we have the M3 strategy, which is used by 1% of the population, and that's where we trade our time for money. Trade our time, sorry, let me correct the door got stuck. Where we trade our time and have multiple sources of income. It is the way most successful people that are successful, have multiple sources of income. They don't just have one form of income. When I was working for the airlines, I had one form of income. That was it. I was the one that traded my time for money. I would drive home from LaGuardia Airport. It would take me 2 hours just to get home, and then 45 minutes to wait for the employee bus to get out to the parking lot. So I was trading my time for an hourly rate. I got paid every 2 weeks. Multiple sources of income. They can be big, they can be small, they can come from any direction. It doesn't matter which way or how many times you try to set up different multiple sources of income. Once you set them up, some of them will succeed, some of them will not succeed, but the ones that do succeed will carry the ones that are not successful. But that's why people are successful. They have more than one income. It's like Professor David, my kickboxing professor. He's multiple sources of income. And the way to learn how to have multiple sources of income is to be around people that's doing it. Because then you're not just relying on your one salary every week that's coming into your home. Now you have different areas of doing that. And that, I have my book. Now I have my business. I have set up 2 other businesses that's starting up also, because I know people that are successful have the multiple sources of income. And I have started that because I'm with people that's doing that. So I said, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's why, if you go back to, if you look at everybody that is successful, they do have more than one area where they have money coming in. Whether it's online, ticket sales, concerts, speaking, it's all coming in different avenues. There's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. So that was me. I was wishing for my big sea goal. I was thinking it was just gonna happen, and it's not. No one is ready for a thing until they believe they can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. I was hoping. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds will not inspire faith, courage, and belief. So I was wishing for the seagull. I wasn't ready to receive it because I wasn't creating the path for it to happen. But now my state of mind is belief. I know it's going to happen. I know it. Remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity than to accept misery and poverty. Same amount of energy. So why not focus on the good? Why not focus on the abundance and prosperity that we all want in our lives than to accept misery and poverty? And a lot of people, unfortunately, they go through life with the daily humdrum of life, not knowing that if they just change their thinking and how they think, how they could open up doors to a brand new life. So I want to thank you very much for coming, and I hope you got something out of it. I hope you'll walk away with some tools. Utilize your gold cards.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you have more than one goal on your goal card? I mean, maybe on different goal cards?
So you can have, so I have my big goal, right? So my big goal is a house on the ocean. I know it's going to happen. I know it. But then I also have the smaller goal that I have that I'm working towards, which is this. So yes, the big goal keeps you on track to where you're going, because you want to stay focused on that. That's the big one. But then you need to also stay focused on the smaller steps that you're taking towards that. So yes, you can have, but always keep the big one the priority, because that's the one that's going to keep you moving when the obstacles come and you feel like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I can't do this, or whatever it is that's happening, because obstacles do happen in life. That's the one that'll keep you moving in the direction where you want to go. That goal, the big one. So make sure 40 words or less, present tense, and when you write it out, if I was to pick up your goal card, I would know exactly where you were going and what you meant. So it has to be clear, concise, present tense, and put a date on it. Because then it keeps you focused, it keeps you. We have these higher faculties, and one of them is the will. And the will is to strengthen the will to stay focused on where you're going no matter what happens. And when you fall down a little bit, you just pick yourself up and you just get back and you stay focused. He says to put a dot on the wall opposite where you sit and just watch the dot until you become with it, and that'll start training your mind to stay disciplined and focused, or to sit and watch a candle flame and just until your mind becomes so trained that you become one with the candle flame. That's how disciplined you need to keep your mind if your goal is something that really is so important to you. Yeah. Anybody else have any other questions?
A question about the multiple sources
Yeah.
of income.
Mm-hmm.
So would you start your own business? Is that basically what they are?
Well, yes. So you want to have something set up where it's going to bring in another stream of income. So just say now I have this, right? What I'm doing right now, that's one. This is another, right? Promoting my book. I'm just going to share my example, right? So now I do another technique that I am going to expand into a business, and then I've started another website called The Journey Within, if you want to come check it out, and that's going to be another form of business. So yes, something that's going to bring in extra income into your life. Yeah. Not just have one source of income, because then you depend on that one source of income. And then if something happens and you don't have that one form of income, then where are you?
Sometimes you have to have a little extra money to lay out to get started, right? So
Well, I started my other little website, The Journey Within, with very little money. just to start it, and then expand it
Okay.
as I grow. Yeah. But they say to start where you are with what you have.
Mhm.
At least start it. So whatever ideas come to you, remember what we said about the ideas? The ideas are your ideas. They're coming to you from the source,
Mm.
directly to you. It's up to you to take action. Take action. If they don't work, they don't work. But they came to you for a reason. So just start with where you are, with what you have, and expand on it as you grow. Yeah, yeah. It's very powerful. I mean, I know people that have multiple sources of income and multi-millionaires. Like I said, the lady with the book author, I mean, she's a mentor, she does speaking engagements, she's 12 New York Times bestseller course, she's all these online courses. I mean, she has money coming in everywhere. But she takes the action. See, that's the difference. She doesn't think about it. If the idea comes to her, she takes the action right away. Yeah, she's all these programs online. Every successful people has more. Tony Robbins, think of him. I mean, speaking engagement, all of that. Online programs. There's more than one income. They just don't depend on it coming in one way. They have it coming in many ways.
So
think-
sometimes I'll tell myself, well, you need $2,000 to self-publish, and you need $800 to become an LLC, you know, to incorporate whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right.
So sometimes if you let those little startup fees hold you back, you gotta, I guess, move forward with
Make the decision.
Yeah.
Just make a committed decision, this is what I'm gonna do, and the ideas will come to you to make that happen. But you gotta make a decision, it's what you want.
Mhm.
If you don't make the decision, then you stay thinking about it. And then it doesn't really go very far. And then it causes you more, it takes more of your energy when you have to think about something rather than just do it. It takes more energy actually to think about. They say indecision is a state of anxiety because you're constantly thinking, do I not do it? Do I do it? What's the best thing for me to do? And then you're all over the place. And then you're not focused on anything. So he always says, and it's been my experience, make a decision with this new website. There's 3 of us in it. I didn't know how we were gonna do it, but I remember what he said, start with what you have. And that's what I did. So it's on there, it's small, but it'll expand in time, because I know it's my vision, it came to me. And there's 2 other people with me now in it. It's very small, but I know in time, I've seen it expand, I know what I want to do with it, but I can't do that right now, so I started with what I had. So I don't know if that helps you or not. Yeah. It's all an empowered decision. Make a decision, don't know how. Just do it. Yeah. If you practice that throughout your life, even though you don't know how it's gonna happen, you'll see. You'll see. I'll tell you from experience. You'll see things start to happen. Yeah. Yeah. And these books, definitely take a picture. Powerful, power of awareness. And if you do get this book, I was at one of the events, one of Bob Proctor's events, and he was talking about it, and he asked somebody in the group if they had this book on them, and she said, this one girl raised her hand. So he lent her, now he must have 20 of these books, so he lent her his book that he had up on stage, and she underlined everything, so she gave me the book. So I underlined everything that he underlined. I said to her, can I have that book when you're done? So she let me have it. So I was able to take what he thought was important and underline it myself. But it's so much in there. Once you start reading this type of material, you'll just be in awe. Like I always said, where was I all these years? That I wasn't aware that this material was even there. But it's powerful. And this one here, Feeling is the Secret. Look at it. 30-something pages, I think. It will remind you. pay attention to what you're putting in your subconscious mind. 32 pages. Powerful little book. I've been reading it. Yeah. So I want to just say thank you very much, guys, really for coming. Listen you squared. It's another great book too. So if you want to take some pictures of those, I would definitely suggest. Oh. Oh.
Sorry. I thought it was the 8. We told it was 8 o'clock.
Thank you for coming. Oh. Oh.
What?
I'm so happy to see you guys. It was good. Marianne, did you like it?
It was great.
It was good
Yeah,
stuff, right?
You did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, like high school, like that was so great.
You know what you want to do is
Get
go
into
to like crazy.
schools and do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That would be great because when you're
You
young.
don't know what you want to do.
Right.
You have no direction.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you got lost or something.
Hey, you.
He's a nice one.
I can't stand when she like starts speaking.
How are you?
A lot of what?
Nice to see you. I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't believe you didn't see it. Oh.
Well, I was I said, but always with something. So I said to Jeannie, I said, I'm not doing
Unless he's like the only person available in the evening.
Okay.
Oh.
Somebody delivering a chair and a
Exactly.
How many things in every day that you need.
Somebody, now that they're
The 26th, so the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
That's a great day. They put your lights, yeah, and then they come and look down.
Right,
So if you arrive then,
Put your name
So
in.
simple.
sometimes it's a little challenging.
Or just little badges, like one's they'll be back.
They've probably made it on their own for years because they just,
She has space.
it was easier. And then so what are just,
Yeah. And then I'm gonna do in Brooklyn, I did one in Sunshine. There's a Baatz lights and everything.
and I think there's always sword training and those quirky little things that you
The little suction cup.
yeah, and then they pop out.
They pop out.
And so I'm trying to think of what can I do?
That's just when I was
Put on the window, know what the light is. And if I can think of something, I'm gonna try it. Because I know I love my life, but I may still with the journey. You know,
You might have
it's
been
if I
like,
it needs to help.
and then you know,
Right, so if it's really can do that, then it's like, people don't buy it, right? They're not lazy, they just don't have time. They don't have to, but they want to. But then you got, like my husband fell off a ladder.
I know some people are trying to put schools for the kids to really.
I know that it's time for you to really enjoy yourself.
I would imagine. And she has done it.
Yeah.
My friend in Staten Island.
They all do it, they all do it, Staten Island, yes.
We did a lot of this work when I was working with
And it's party.
Like, you know,
did
just
all
it's the anxiety of getting it done.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll save that money, that's something they're gonna come and do, and it takes work.
you know what I mean? Like,
Things are just sensible, like the outside lights, you know? Yeah. There's a Rockaway company that does outside lights.
I think I saw it in the way.
Somebody advertised, yeah.
Well, I have to invite principals to come.
That's how I realized that somebody's doing this. I didn't know about that.
This would be
Yeah.
appropriate.
That's fine.
If I think I have like
This
9
person likes.
I think that says a lot as it is, you know?
Her house looks beautiful, but she has a new
And
one.
they
the inside too, or just the outside and the back?
Really?
Inside too?
You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sophie's place.
But that gives her joy, so that's how she wants to do it. Yeah. You know, like don't you all those times home and looking very low decorating and want to try to do it. But you can't always quite that, We're all gonna make a good job. We have to.
You definitely get the impression of it.
Maybe this summer, when I'm off from school for a couple of days.
It has like such a beautiful
Cozy, you know, feeling.
and the whole the ladies business,
The book, you can do the
Rockaway
website
leads
too.
a business here once a month.
You're
That's how
gonna do that.
you get kind of
Yeah.
She can only do it, I might go back to St. Columbine. And we did one the part that was just actual
So you did that?
Yeah, I did just one.
That was an
Any
adventure. That's okay, I
Did you
mean,
guys go to it? It's okay.
No, I do not.
live and learn, you know.
That's how you learn life. And you know, next time the whole week. And yeah, but you could save it, go back to it, you know.
You know what I mean?
So here I go with Monday, it's probably expensive,
It's
right?
like $200 and something. No, it's not bad, not for a whole weekend.
Oh, it's
So-
one over here?
The last thing that somebody's expecting to see myself is the elbow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to find out who I am. I know it's you. And I'll take a picture of my head.
No, I'm sure.
This is one day.
I was when I was first starting off, but now everyone's doing it, and maybe it was personal training. Yeah.
And then I said, I can do that. I should have a little goal. You know, like, I don't know, getting a new deck, you know, or whatever, I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but it's gonna
Just
happen.
like, well, entrepreneur skills.
You know, something, whatever it
Like
is.
things every day, you know.
Oh, yeah, just,
Well, what I did, what I did that way exercising with Christy, I have every year, you can go into prom
Okay.
at 5:30. And we do that, sometimes we do regular 5 and sometimes 3. But we're consistent for a whole year. Tomorrow's our anniversary. I'm going
and
to
like,
go
so
hard.
hard.
But I had to,
Would you ladies like
until I
that?
did well.
Okay.
Sure.
I think we
How
have one.
many do you want me to order for you?
I put in your shoe. Because
You want one?
Good message.
I had a supervisor who's announced it, and we had to do it 7 o'clock. So I'm like, sorry,
Thank you for coming.
Oh, ladies, if you want any water, there's water on the table.
This is Lois.
we got a bottle.
She came to my.
Oh, you got a bottle?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Martial arts and.
Oh, you gave them out, right?
The class is from 5:30 to 6:30.
Oh, the cat.
We have a 94.
This is your
This is my book. Yeah,
This is
$12.
There's one little dingy shower in there.
You want?
I just
She gave the money.
shower, walked out, and I went for me.
We're doing a plan for two?
Met my friend on 94.
My son is like floundering.
Thank you for coming to everything and consulting. You know, I love being on band, but I was like, oh, it's a workout, and when we get to the meeting, and I was like, what to do it? Never, like, that was a stretch for me.
Have a good one.
Because I normally don't do that once a year or something. You know, but it was attainable. It was reasonable. I planned it, I packed it up.
It's hard to get
And I
water,
did.
right?
Do you want
You
more
got
on
those
the
just a lot to
self-development
It
line?
was possible, I didn't think it was.
So this book
No.
here.
Weird.
Would you mind?
Don't see my books if anybody likes to purchase one.
How much are they?
$12.
Okay, I'm gonna,
This book is Mentor the Darkness.
Jason's been on
This
my
is,
side. Where
it's
have
this
you
thing
been?
in children's, but it's not about singing.
yeah,
It's a heavy read, but it's with design. Suggestion how
I
we
had a
talk
cat, he
about
was like
songs.
that.
Get back into
He
it
was,
when
he
you're away
was
from
the
it for a
same
while.
type of cat. He was, had 3 legs.
Suggestion on
I had her for like 18 years. She was
Oh, that's really good.
what a beautiful cat. Oh my God. Yes, he was a stray and something she wrote.
Just a change of scenery.
So the
Yeah.
doctor had to amputate the leg. But he
Wow.
so
That's so
That was so sad. I'm not sure. I think it's a boy.
Oh, this was my cat, was a boy too. Oh, so beautiful. Oh
Yeah,
my
she
God.
doesn't really hold
I
your
miss him so
And that
much.
seems to be.
And I had a beautiful dog too that they passed away like that's it. They both lived like almost 14, 15 years each. But they passed away around the same time.
Around
So I
the same
missed
time.
yeah, because I got them at like the same time. They were both almost the same age.
And a place to stay
And
too, like he's so
I missed
excited
the
about
dog
it.
too. Well, now my son adopted a dog, so the dog
You
visits
didn't
me
want
on
out, you
weekends.
don't wanna even
But
suggest
I
it.
missed the. She was a calm
Yeah.
dog.
This is a great.
No,
She was a
I
shepherd
remember you saying it,
Rottweiler.
and
She was
I
big.
always hear that.
Yeah,
And
but
now he adopted a raccoon treehound that's like a crazy dog.
The crazy one.
Oh my God, he's crazy. But I
They're so
love him.
It's a heavy
He stands on everything. He stands up this high. He goes on shelves and gets things.
They are curious dogs.
Yeah.
They want to see everything. What's happening?
Yes, yes, and they're tree climbers, so they like to stand on their hind legs and, you know, he's really, he's like a big
I think she's
toddler.
gonna end up
Like he's able to get places where babies couldn't, you know? You got a baby proof.
But that's nice.
Yeah, he's a great dog.
Okay, I'll tell you
Amy,
what
I'm
was
gonna
in
get one
Without a
too,
doubt.
because I've been trying to get on the website and I haven't done it.
See, now you don't have to order
Now I don't
everything.
have to. I have 12 right on me too.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So there's 3, and let me give you a 5. So let me know, guys, what you think of it.
Yes.
It's powerful. Okay.
I can't wait, it's been my goal to get it, you know, and then, you know, you just.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And I know there's a website and I put on it and I was like, I don't get it, but I'm so glad you brought it.
Thank you.
It's a great idea to bring
People
people.
will
Actually, Shane suggested it,
Yeah,
and
it's a
then
great
you
idea.
know,
It's really
announced about it when she published it.
Yes,
you know?
and then you don't have to think about it on it.
Yeah.
But it's powerful,
It's a really
it
good
takes
read.
about 75 minutes to read, but if you're, maybe you should give that to
Yeah, I
yourself.
think the press would say yes to it.
And then I'll pass it.
No, I mean, it's
Yeah.
really powerful.
Okay,
It's really powerful. And I'm not just saying that
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
my
yeah.
book. It is.
okay.
The people that have read it are like,
Alright, now, thank you so much for coming.
I don't want to get
yeah.
but I want to get my camera and take.
Yes.
My son Dan might benefit from it too, but I'll read it first.
Yes. Oh my God, guys, thank you. Oh. I'm so glad.
Tomorrow, do you think we can make it a little earlier?
We don't want to be able to say I have something at 9.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Dan's probably gonna be home at 12.
You can come to me tomorrow.
Alright, you don't want me to text in the morning,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you like the presentation? It's a lot of good
Yeah, I
stuff.
had my eyes closed because I
Right.
wouldn't look up so
Right.
whenever,
Right.
so I wanted to make sure I told you that it wasn't that I was asleep.
But the information is good,
Very good.
right? It's powerful
very
stuff.
teaching,
So,
Once
It
I
feels
get
like
this,
I missed it.
Really?
I have to
Blocks over.
remember about
So
the
that's too far.
subconscious.
We're at
One of the
126
things
now.
I it can't tell you right or wrong. So if you're around a lot of negativity, it can seep in, so you gotta guard it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
When you know that you're
But
at negative thought, because you sometimes just accepts things, right? It
Accepts.
doesn't scream.
no,
Like your
you
conscious
can
does.
accept. They can't,
Apparently.
yeah, it just accepts
Accepts.
what's there.
family and
Well,
stuff.
you can't, and then that affects how we feel in our body.
You know, because my son told me this week, we went on Veterans Day to a movie together and we're talking, and he had the learning disability and the ADHD, and he said kids make fun of him when he was young. He said he can't get it out of his subconscious mind. So I said, why don't you start with one positive thought? Because I figured he couldn't do a lot, because I was saying
happens
it's
for a
in
reason.
there. You know, but sometimes, right, and that's how you replace it,
Yeah,
when he
it's
was.
repetition.
Take a repetition
yeah.
of one positive thing.
It's nice,
Yeah.
do a couple ups.
Can't be too many, but maybe one,
As soon as
and
we
you keep
open the door,
drawing
she's
on
able
that.
to run out.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
if you try to
Going
change
along,
too
she's
much, you
grass.
change nothing.
Like positive.
And now we have grass and
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah,
that's one
definitely,
for it too,
because
because in our
kids
other
can
one,
be
it's kind of like a
so
stuff.
Yeah.
So cruel to live
I remember.
Oh,
They
my
are.
My
God.
youngest son went through all that stuff.
Yeah, it's terrible, and people don't realize the long-term damaging.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't just hurt in the moment, no, because
No,
he's,
it's like-
he's 36 years old, and it still hurt, 35, no, he's 35.
Like
Still hurts.
Yeah.
It's
But
very
if a
painful.
boy wouldn't take it in, I
Oh,
mean, there,
he
he
took
took
it
it
right in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because when you don't know. Did you see the book? Oh, you want a book too?
I got a book.
Oh, that's so I think
My
that
husband
is
is
so
basically Alan on me one day. So I have to get him before he's my ride home. So I'm
good
gonna
on
do
the
it.
good.
Yeah, it's a very small little meeting, right? Only 3 or 4 people like that.
Make it easy.
But he likes it, so he reads it.
Because I feel like when I put in my drinks, just feel because too much can relate to me.
You know what I mean? So
Thank you.
he should be there. Yeah,
Oh,
it's nice. Yeah, he
oh,
likes it. Yeah, it's
great, thank you. Oh, you guys are the best.
You know, the Tuesday night meeting's a little more.
Annie, is there a bathroom down here?
Yeah, right here on the left.
Okay.
My